The Surefire Scout Pro. Let's check it out. Light is your #1 security tool, and there's no other light that's more trusted by military and law enforcement than Surefire. These guys have been around since 1970. Surefire's been making really quality lights and have built a huge reputation. These are used by the U.S. military. They've been proven in combat. They've been used by law enforcement. In fact, I know a lot of law enforcement guys that will not trust anything but Surefire. Today we're going to take a look at the Surefire Scout Pro. This is an upgrade from the original Surefire Scout, which just has an excellent mounting system. But the big thing about Surefire is its performance. I mean, they will go to hell and back and come out still shining bright. And so we're going to take a look and see some of the features of this light. And of course, it is made in the USA, which is a big plus for a lot of people. But it is, again, a premium light. Comes in this really matte finish black and also FDE. Now we want to thank Surefire for sending the lights for the test and evaluation, but also to GetZone.com for putting all this together. GetZone is one of the best resources for sports, outdoors, hunting, tactical, and survival, and they are the best Second Amendment video platform. Okay guys, here we have a lineup of the Surefire Scouts. These are very popular again with military and police, big time. I mean, these are trustworthy. They've been around for a long time. But one of the things that they've done is upgraded to the Pro. Now, the one that we originally reviewed is the Surefire Scout Lite. In fact, it's just written right here. These are the original mounts, and you have a Picatinny mount that it comes with, but you can take this off and put it to a number of different mounts, and it will fit really flush to the firearm, to the handguard. And so that's one of the big pluses with the Surefire. But now they've gone to the Pro model. And this again is the Scout Lite Pro. It does have a different kind of system. And if you'll notice this little piece right here, you can use this onto your Picatinny rail and you can get it super close to the handguard. And that's one of the big pluses with the Pro. It just makes it so easy to get it against the rifle instead of sticking out to the side, possibly catching on something. You have this really close mount. Now it has the Picatinny, but it also comes with an M-Lok mount. So you can take this, attach it directly to your M-Lok rail, and you can really tighten it down. And I'm going to demonstrate that in just a few minutes. But this makes it super easy to do. Now, one of the things about it, you may have the old key mod, or you may have a quad rail. And if you do, this is a great way to go. It still gets the light really close to the handguard. But honestly, with this little M-Lok mount, it fits super close. Now you'll notice that it's kind of wobbly here, but you take this screw right here and you tighten it down. And there's a wrench provided, and you can just tighten this down and get it super tight to where it fits and it closes down. Now I'm going to tell you, when I first got these and I was testing them, I thought I would never get that screw tight. I mean, I kept tightening and tightening, and then finally it just locked down. Once you get this screw tightened down and then you attach this to your rail, it is not going to move. And then all you have to do is loosen that up a little bit, and you can move it to another position if you want. And so you can put it into different positions. It's a really secure mounting system. Now I want to show you how the Scout model actually works. I've taken off the Picatinny section right here. It's really easy to do. And then typically you'll have these mounts and they'll have these little spaces, and they correspond here on the light itself. So you just lock this in screw it down, and you can see how tight and close that gets to your M-Lok or your key mod rail, whichever you decide for the mount. There's a ton of different mounts out there, so there's a lot of options. But with the Pro, we've already got everything set up, and again, it's really close. Even the Picatinny's close. But when you come in with that M-Lok, I mean, this is really incredible. Now, one thing that Surefire has done is go to the dual fuel models. And this original Scout is a dual fuel. And that means it has an 18650 rechargeable battery. It's a very high lumen output. I mean, it really allows for it to get up into the lumens. So we're talking about 1500 lumens with the original Scout light with the dual fuel. But they also have the dual fuel with the Pro. And this one is a little bit thicker than the original. Here you can see it's a little more narrow than the dual fuel. And the reason why is we have two CR123s in the standard Scout Light Pros and the other Scout Lights that aren't dual fuel. Now, to show you what we're talking about exactly, we're going to drop out our two CR123s. Now, you can get rechargeable batteries for these, but these are just your standard non-rechargeable. With the dual fuel model, and remember, you always have to take the head off to get the battery. And so here we have a rechargeable 18650. There's a port, it comes with a cord, you can charge this up to any USB source. Now, one of the things that I didn't really understand originally is why they didn't allow for the battery to come out the back. And most of the flashlights that I deal with, they do, they come right out the back. But here, you've got a little bit smaller so it won't come through. But one of the great things, if you're ever removing this, which you can put it on a pressure pad switch or a tail switch and you can do some different things with it, the batteries aren't going to fall out. And that's one thing that I thought was actually pretty ingenious. But I failed to show you, here are the two differences. You can see it's a little bit of a larger body on the 18650, and with the small little CR123s, it allows for a narrower light. So that may be what you're looking for. But typically, the CR123s will only produce about 1,000 lumens out of the Surefire Scout Light Pros. If it's the dual fuel, it's 1,500. You can use your standard CR123s in this light. And so it gives you a little less lumen output. In fact, it goes from 1,500 to 1,200 lumens. But guys, it's still really bright. But there's very little movement inside the body. These two are the same models. They're actually just the Scout Light Pros. They both have the CR123 batteries. They both are 1,000 lumens. This is in the tan, which is absolutely beautiful. And then in the black, which the finish on these guys is just fantastic. I mean, you can see the quality. I mean, it's just a beautiful finished light. Now here we have the standard Scout Light Pro. I mean, we're getting 1,000 lumens. And we're gonna, again, take this out, but you can just lightly press for momentary. If you click, it's on constant. There's no other modes. That's what you get. There's no strobe. It's just you get light, and you get light when you need it. Here with the dual fuel, again, you're getting 1,500 lumens. And so it is super bright. Now you can't really tell it here as much, but we're going to take it outside. Once the camera adjusts though, you can see that on the right with the standard Scout, you're not getting what the dual fuel is getting. Now here we have the Mini Scout Light Pro. This is a much smaller light. In fact, it's 4.1 inches, whereas your standard Scout lights are 5.56 inches. And so this gives you a little bit of a more compact light. It only puts out 500 lumens, but 500 lumens, guys, is still super bright. And of course, this is a more compact option, especially if you have, like, you know, one of the AR pistols or an AK pistol. We're going to go ahead and take the battery out. It uses one CR123. And so instead of the two, that's part of the reason why you're not getting quite the lumen output. And then with the Mini Scout Light Pro, I mean, it's 500 lumens. It's still really bright. Here we're going with the 1,000 lumens. And then here we're going with the 1,500 lumens. The big thing is with these heads, guys, is you can switch these out. And there's a lot of different heads that they do, which makes this really cool, because I think all the tail switches or the tail caps are the Z68 models. And so all of these tail caps will interchange. The dual fuel heads will not interchange with the standard Scout Light Pros. The body is a little bit thinner again, and so it doesn't allow for you to switch that out. Now each light has a tempered lens, and it is a TIR lens, which means total internal reflection. A lot of times you start to lose light and it reflects back on the reflector. You can see the reflector, it's a smooth reflector. But the TIR lens is something that a lot of companies are going with because it's just a very efficient way to get as much light out as possible. You do have a muted crenulated bezel, but this is going on your rifle. You could use this for a regular light if you wanted to take it off, but you are going to have this little mount that's going to get in the way, but it does have the tail switch. It makes it really easy to use. Now let's start out with the Scout Light Pro at 1,000 lumens. All right, here we go, 1,000 lumens. And guys, it's really nice and bright. That fence is about 25 yards out. And it gives it a nice hot spot, but you can see all around it. There's a nice spill. And so the flood's going to be able to allow you to see other threats that are coming in on the side. So one of the things about having a real pinpoint light is it doesn't have spill. You can't really see a large area. Next, we're going to go with the Mini Scout Light Pro at 500 lumens. And you can see, guys, 25 yards, you're still getting plenty of light. I mean, it's going to give you a decent amount. You know, and 500 lumens is great. I mean, really, over the past few years, we've been dealing with 100 lumens. So this is going to give you a good, bright spot, and yet you're going to have that flood. Now, let's turn on the standard Scout Light, and we're getting 1,000 lumens here, and then we're getting the 500 lumens here. We're still getting plenty of detail with the 500, but the 1,000 definitely is picking up more. And I can tell it's wanting to reach on out past that. With the 500 lumens, you're not quite getting the same amount of light output, but it's still really nice. 1,000 lumens here. Next, we're going to go with the dual fuel model, and this is 1,500 lumens. A little more of a hot spot, but definitely still some throw. We're able to get that fence line really well and the area around it, which again is important, especially for a combat light or a self-defense light. Now I'm going to put it over here. We're going to bring out the standard. 1,000 lumens on the left, 1,500. Definitely more intense light on the dual fuel. You're just getting more performance out of it. Here's the 1,000. Then we've got the 1,500. You can see the detail is so much better. And even to the naked eye right here, that's not passing through the camera, there's definitely a difference between these two. Now this is going to give you recharging capability as well. You're going to have your CR123s that, you know, once they go out, unless you buy the rechargeables. And here we have the Mini. We're going to pull the dual fuel out. You can see a huge difference. But if you really want something compact, the Mini is going to still be a very capable light. The dual fuel is just going to give you more performance. Okay, here we go with the standard Scout Light Pro, 1,000 lumens. When you're able to see that tree line down there, that's about 75 yards out. Guys, it is lighting up that whole area. The camera is not doing it justice, but man, that is just lighting up that right next to those tree line and into the trees. Now let's go with the dual fuel. Definitely getting a lot more light. It's a little more intense light. It's not that it's any bigger, it's just more intense. But it's a nice broad spill, so you're getting a lot of area that's lighting up down there. And I can hear the deer running down through there. Now here we have the Mini, and guys, you can see it's still a good bit of light. It really brightens up that whole area. You can kind of see the definite hot spot, but there is a lot of flood around that. Now I'm going to bring out the standard Pro, and you can see you're going to get, again, more performance. In fact, it just kind of washes out that Mini. But honestly, you're still getting a lot of good usable light. With the standard, though, I mean, it is really putting out the 1,000 lumens. You can tell, but it is really outperforming the Mini. But again, the Mini is a special purpose. It's something smaller, and if you want to go with that small light on your firearm, this is a great way to go. But whew, if you can put this Pro on there, I would. But if you can put the dual fuel, then you're going to get that much more light. When it comes to illumination, you're identifying your target. So as we put the target on the rubber dummy, you know, it gives you light. You can see what it is before you pull that trigger. Then again, if it's the intruder or it's the target, you're able to see it, you're able to identify it, and then you can engage.
So here we've got it. You can see how bright it is. I mean, they really come up nice. This is not the dual fuel, it's the 1000 lumens. Now here we have the 1500 lumens. It does give it much more brightness, but really at this distance, there's not a lot of difference. It's really when you get out a little bit farther. We're about 20 yards from the target. As you can see, very clear. You're able to identify. I mean, here it's pitch black. Bring it up and you've got light. Honestly, if you have a self-defense firearm, you need to have a light on it. You've got to be able to identify. Now the Scout Light Pro dual fuel, again, is coming in at 1500 lumens, which is about 16,000 candela. It's going to go for about an hour and a half. If you put in some of the CR123s, it drops it down to 1200 lumens, and you're going to get an hour and 15 minutes of runtime. With the standard Scout Light Pro, you're getting 1000 lumens. You're going to go for about an hour and 15 minutes, and it's 11,300 candela. And then with the Mini Scout Light Pro, 500 lumens, 1 hour, and it's 7,600 candela. 250 meters on the dual fuel. On the standard Scout, you're going to get 213 meters. Then on the Mini Scout Light Pro, you're going to get 175 meters. And all of Surefire Scout series are IPX7, which means they're submersible up to 2 meters for over 30 minutes. They do have gaskets inside to keep water and moisture and dust out of the body of the flashlight, and they are impact resistant up to 2 meters.
Impact test complete. This is a post and not a tree for all you tree huggers. And Surefire defeats the Kawasaki T-Rex. Not the Hummer, but the Hummer's in the shop. Now, Surefire is made right here in the USA, and again, they've been in business since the 1970s. So they've really made a name for themselves, again, with military and law enforcement. Now, when it comes to price, these are not inexpensive lights. I mean, they're made to perform, they're made for combat, they're made for use with law enforcement and for civilian sheepdogs. The standard Scout Light Pro and the Mini Scout Light Pro retail for $299 on the Surefire website. And then for the dual fuel models, the Scout Light Pro dual fuel runs $319. I believe if you go with the standard Scout, even in the dual fuel, I believe it's running $299 as well. But guys, again, these lights are made in the USA. Testing and the quality that goes into these lights, I mean, they have passed military standards and are used all over the world. Not only with military, but also law enforcement and with civilians. And so it's just one of those lights that's just a bomb-proof light. And guys, obviously the market price going through distributors and things like that, a lot of times you can get it at a lower price. So guys, if you want a light that you can trust and that will perform extremely well, check out the Surefire Scout Pro or any of the Surefire lights. I mean, they're just excellent. And of course, this desert sand or FDE color is just beautiful. But beauty is only skin deep. These lights will go all the way to the bone. They've been proven in combat, law enforcement situations, and everyday use from citizen sheepdogs. And guys, while there are lights out there that may have higher lumens and are really good quality, the one thing about Surefire is you can rest assured that these lights are going to work. 50 years, lifetime warranty. I mean, they're just great lights. And again, we want to thank Surefire for sending these and for GetZone.com for putting this together. So check out the Suit Zone on GetZone. Rubber Dummies is one of the best training tools on the market, and you get a 10% discount using Suit00 when you click the link down in the description. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic.
it puts out 500. Boing. Let's do that again. If I can get this thing on, baby. There we go.
They are just tremendously awesome, fantastic lights. I mean fantastic. I mean, if I said fantastic, I meant fantastic because they are fantastic.
Impact test. Okay guys, we have a number of the Surelight Scouts. The Surelight. We have a Surelight and he's from Sherlock. Where's Watson? Now one thing that Olight has done just recently is go to their dual fuel model.
And today we're going to take a look at the Surefire Pro Scout. Scout Pro. Is it Scout Pro or Pro Scout? Kind of know those things. Inquiring minds want to know.